Listen, y'all, if you done came across this word, you might be new here. I make a whole lot of guy vlog, mommy Amy guy vlog video. And outside of that, I love to vlog. I love to make videos and talk to y'all about everything that's going on in my life, everything that's going on with my walk with God, motherhood, all of that. That's just what I like to do, so that's what I do. But listen, and I like to make music. Just ain't dived completely in that bag, but that bag is coming, okay? But listen, y'all, to get to the word, see, the fruit is very, very ripe. It's very, very ripe in this season. And I've said this before, but I'm about to say it again. If you connected to this word, if your spirit has been drawn to this channel, the fruit is very, very ripe right now. Listen, I can't tell you what God has told you. All I know is what God has revealed to me. So in this season, it is so mandatory for you to be intentional, for you to be faithful, and for you to have faith. See, the thing is, if you are faithful in this season, you are going to prune your own spirit. You are going to allow God to prune your character and your heart posture. And this is going to be so beneficial to you when you make it to what it is God has called you to. You get what I'm saying? And the reason being is because this is the trick. Listen, let me expose a trick of the enemy. A lot of people, they believe that they promised land is clout. That's the promised land for everybody right now. Clout is that is not a promised land if it doesn't actually have anything to do with God, and if it bears no fruit. And if you get to a land of clout but don't have any ability with you, because you're going to squander the season. That's why there's so many people who done went viral, they gone, nobody thinking about them no more. You know what I'm saying? They went all the way up, reached a peak, fell off, and nobody gained anything, not even themselves. You get what I'm saying? The season was squandered. It came, it went, it's done. Because the promise is not always, it's not about clout. So I gotta make this known for the simple fact that I know a lot of people relate breakthrough with clout. Although God may call you to a position where clout is involved. But this is why he's telling me to make this message. When he say that the fruit is ripe, it's because wherever he did call you to, whatever that breakthrough is for you. What's going on, girl? You already know. You already know what's going on. Okay. But look, y'all, whatever that breakthrough is for you, you have done the work already, right? You've been doing the work. You've been practicing your faithfulness. You've been trying to stay on the path. You've been rejecting the things that you know are not from God. You've even been made to become so humble that even when it hurts you, you allow God's will to be done because you are learning that it's not about you. And this is why God is saying the fruit is so ripe. Because when the fruit is ripe, that means, listen, what I keep seeing in my eyes and in vision is that the fruit is hanging low because it's ready. It is at its finishing point. You get what I'm saying? Oh, see now. What I heard is feast in the land, right? And the reason being is because when the fruit gets that right to where it's ready to get picked off, it's because it's time to feast. It's time to be full. It's time. Man, listen. Listen. Everything you faced in this season, you are about to see why you seen it. You are about to see why you went through it. And please don't be upset. Do not be upset because people have to be exposed. That's what y'all not understanding. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They have to get exposed because you can't go into the land and not be able to see what it is God wants you to see. You get what I'm saying? You can't go into the land blind. See, let me tell you something. Even when it comes to every tactic that the enemy uses, the enemy loves to use people, right? He loves to use people or finances, because those are the things that get to you mentally, and your mental can destroy your spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're mentally thrown off, you don't even want to talk about it. You get what I'm saying? So if he can just use things to disturb you mentally and emotionally, to break you spiritually. So I'm pointing this out because this portion of the battle, he said, y'all don't take it personal, because it's not personal. See, this is going to teach you how to walk alone. Majority of leaders are going to be called to walk alone. You get what I'm saying? And it's not because it's the world against you. In our reality, it's the world against your calling. You get what I'm saying? Don't let the world take away what it is you're called to do. Don't let the world steal what it is God is placing you. Don't let your feelings destroy what it is God is building. Listen, it's never to be emotionless. I know I've said it before, I'm going to say it every single time. It's not because you're called to be emotionless. It's because you're called to be wise. You're called to walk in wisdom. You're called to say, oh, okay, I see what this is. I see what's trying to be done. I see the goal. And guess what you can do? Abandon the goals of the enemy. Abandon his goals. How do you do this? By looking at the tactic and saying, that ain't even for me. That's not even for me. Nothing you do have anything to do with me. You get what I'm saying? This is what you tell Satan every time he says a thing. Every time he uses a thing. Every time he says a thing. You look at that thing and you say, that ain't got nothing to do with what God has said. Therefore, it has nothing to do with me. Don't take it personal. Listen, you got to be disciplined in this season to where you can shut down everything that the enemy is trying to use against you. You got to learn, you got to be able to shut it down literally and keep going. You got to be able to fall to your knees, cry, tears running down your face, and still know God is good. You got to still know God is working. You got to still be able to get up and do it again. That is what faith is. That's what the walk is. That's what being called is. Being called is not about getting a perfect life, then saying God is real because my life is perfect. That wouldn't even be real, because nobody's life is perfect. You get what I'm saying? And the people who think life is perfect, the devil must not be after them. The devil must not be worried about them. I mean, think about Lazarus. He was rich, lived a comfortable life. The devil wouldn't think about him. He went to hell. You get what I'm saying? So there was a reason to why he was misled to believe that life was perfect. If life is not perfect for you, that's because God is showing you the real. God is allowing you to witness and experience what life is really about, because life ain't gonna do nothing but help you glorify God. Life ain't gonna do nothing but strengthen you. You get what I'm saying? It's going to expose that there is a spiritual. See, this is why I always say that the devil will use what is good to destroy you as well. Because see how Lazarus had this misinterpretation of what life was about and what life was supposed to be. I bet he had a wish he had a trial in. Like, I wish I didn't have all that money. I wish I wasn't rich. Because then I would have seen, then I would have called out. This is what God say, that I'm near to the brokenhearted. Because some people, they will get so comfortable in life that they will start to forget how they got there. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mean to go into this. What really God was placing on my heart in the beginning of this word was that the fruit is very ripe, and how discipline is going to be so necessary in this season. Like, you are going to, I'm sorry, but this keeps hitting my heart. You're going to have to know how to shut it down. I don't care what you thought things were. I don't care what you feel things should be. And it's not that I don't care, because in our reality, I feel for everybody that's walking in the body, everybody that's walking righteously, selflessly, humbly, doing what it is they have to do and not what it is they want to do. I feel that everybody that's walking that walk, because it ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? But It's so close that you just cannot give up. It's so close. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Let me think if I want to tell y'all, because it's really two things I want to tell y'all. Two testimonies that have happened in the past 2 days. But one of them was yesterday. I was at the car shop getting my tire changed. And I was walking around just talking to God about everything that I could talk to God about. And when I walked into the tire shop, it was this guy. He asked me if I wanted to take his seat and sit down. And I was like, I would say no, but I feel like that would be rude because he went on his way to offer his seat. So usually when people give like that generous of a gesture, it's kind of like they're trying to be nice. So like accept the niceness, you know. So I went on ahead and said, yeah. Usually I would say no, but I'm like, I ain't gonna steal his blessing. I'm gonna say yeah. So I said yeah, and I went on ahead and sat down. And after I said yeah, he was like, do you sing? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I sing or whatever. But either way it goes, this guy had very strong discernment, and he ended up speaking about the very thing. I hadn't even said a word because I really don't like to talk. And he was a stranger, so I'm really not about to talk for real. So he was more so doing all the talking, but when he was talking, he started speaking about the very things. He started talking about God and everything that I was just talking to God about. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why God is leading me to share this testimony is because, for one, people do not come up to me and talk about God. Just don't. Like, I'm not one of them people that bump into prophets and people that will speak over your life. I never bump into them people. You get what I'm saying? So this is like the third time that this has ever happened to me in my life. So God got me sharing this because he needs to remind people that everything you're facing, he sees it. And although you may feel discouraged, you don't have to. Because he is saying, like, my eyes are set on it. But be humble enough to tell me how you truly feel. Be humble enough to tell me what's really happening. Be humble enough to actually uproot the things that are in your heart. Pour it out. Like, really say it, even if you don't think this is something that I should say to God. Say it, because after you say it, you can allow him to address it. See, the thing is, when you acknowledge God, you then can actually experience his realness. You can experience that he's really there, because when you ignore a thing, sometimes you can push it so far into the back of your mind that it's almost like it's an imagination. You will literally start to forget the reality of the spiritual world. So listen, you have to go to God and pour out what it is you feeling. You have to go to him and tell him, like, this is what I'm facing. This is what I'm going through. You never know when he's going to send a thing. You never know when he's going to send a person just to give you that extremely strong acknowledgement of what you're facing and how much he cares for you. You get what I'm saying? But either way it goes, what God's placed in my heart is he knows you faced a lot. He knows that you've went through a lot. He knows that you've cried multiple times. He knows what it is you want out of it. He knows everything about you. God said he knows every hair on your head. He ain't missed nothing else about you. If he can take the time to count your hair, if he can take the time to acknowledge the amount of strands you have, he's going to acknowledge every depth of your heart. You get what I'm saying? This ain't easy to believe. It's not always easy to believe, but that doesn't mean it isn't true. You get what I'm saying? So listen, the fruit and the work, it has not been in vain. When I tell you, I got 2 testimonies, all right? I just told y'all the first one, but the second one, I was waiting on something. And listen, I don't know who this is for, but pay attention to the things that you hear in the wind. The things that apply to your life, and it just kind of came from nowhere. You get what I'm saying? Like, it applied, and it's like the subtle conversation of God. That's what I'm gonna call it. Pay attention to the subtle conversations that are coming from God that is according to your circumstance. And the reason why I'm saying this, I'm about to tell y'all. Actually, I ain't even mean it. I wasn't even gonna go here, but I'm about to tell y'all something. I was waiting for something to come in the mail. I didn't know if I was actually going to receive anything in the mail, but I just felt like I'm gonna receive something in the mail, right? Matter of fact, let me just tell y'all, I was just having this feeling like I'm gonna have a check in the mail. I'm going to get a check in the mail. I don't know if I'm gonna get a check, but I'm gonna get a check in the mail. And I didn't know. Let me tell y'all something. I felt like I was dumb. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, why am I checking this mail? I don't even know if a check is coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't even know. I was facing the season off as an entrepreneur, and I was just praying for a check in the mail. Every day I was checking the mail in faith. That's what I mean by a subtle conversation that will come from the Lord. Pay attention to the subtle conversations when God is speaking back to your circumstance. I didn't know that person was going to say that at all. Nothing about that video had nothing with that. But whole time, it was exactly to my circumstance. I'm checking the mail every day. Like, is a check coming? I feel like a check coming. Is a check going to come? And a check came. Do you get what I'm saying? So, understand and follow the nudgings of God. Follow those nudgings. Stepping out on faith is going to be so important in this season for the simple fact that the thing I've been saying the whole time is the fruit is so ripe. God is calling you to do the things that you feel like don't make sense. He's calling you to invest in the areas that you know could work for you, but you just ain't got it to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? God is like, who do you trust, you or me? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you trust yourself, or do you really trust me? Are you trusting you, or are you walking out on faith? You got to figure this out. We're like, you got to figure it out right now, because you cannot walk a faith walk with no faith. You cannot, and this is the same thing too. You are going to have to be very strategic in this season. I was making it short a little while ago, a few minutes ago. And God dropped this in my heart. He said, if you're going to be anything in this season, be smart about it. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why is because you are going to have to combine your faith with your obedience. You are going to have to combine the two. The three. I'm sorry. He just gave me the last one. I felt it was going to be a last one. You are going to have to combine your faith with your obedience, with your wisdom. All three of those is about to get you to where it is God is taking you. Your obedience is about to make you trustworthy. Your obedience is about to qualify you to call. And now that you are obedient and qualified, God is about to pour into your spirit. You are going to become wiser. And now that you are becoming wiser and more enlightened in the Lord, you are going to start to have the strength to step on that faith. Because that wisdom that God is pouring into you, due to your obedience, you are going to be able to see God working. Because you are going to be doing things, and you are going to be feeling that pour happen into your spirit. You are going to feel it happening, and that is going to also strengthen your faith. It's going to get you to the land. I keep saying, I said it in the short today. I said it in the short today. That you are going, let me see. Hold on, y'all. It's not just about being smart about it, but you are going to have to shift your heart posture. You are going to have to be able and willing to let go of so many things and so many people. And the reason being is because you being smart about it, you being strategic about it, that's a portion of what he's calling you to do. You are going to have to be disciplined to the point where you fully understand that anything goes. Anything goes. When you walk in your calling, when you walk in as a child of God, you are not going to be able to dictate. You are not going to be able to dictate anything. You are going to have to put on a heart posture and a set of eyes that are going to have to be loyal and dedicated to the strategy of the call. Do you get what I'm saying? So listen, y'all. When God says that the fruit is very ripe, that thing is right there. It is right there. And all God is saying is that if you stay this path, if you do what it takes, if you let go of the things you got to let go of, if you believe in the things that you cannot see, if you be righteous in these, listen and listen closely. I keep seeing it, but the vine is hanging. Like the fruit has swollen. The fruit got all the juice. The fruit has been poured into. You get what I'm saying? And it's hanging low. It's ready to be picked. Oh my God. It is ready to be, you are ready to be picked. Okay, so if you didn't catch it, he is saying you've been poured into, ready to be picked, ready to be chosen. See, this is why I always say the chosen ones. When you are a chosen child of God, you are going to be picked specifically. It's so many different types of fruit. It's the sour fruit. It's the tough, rough, hard fruit that you barely eat and you spit it out. But your fruit has shown. You get what I'm saying? Oh my God, listen. I don't know what God has called y'all to do specifically. I wish I knew, because I know it's some beautiful things. And I'm just that type of person. I like to see the calling that people are called to. I like to see people chase their calling and do what it is they called to do and all of that. But either way it goes, though, it's just extremely closer than you think that it is. And God is showing you little by little. He's showing you how quickly he can come through. He's allowing your patience to be exercised, though. He's still coming through at that nick of time. And the reason why he is doing this is because the season that you left from, see, if you anything like me, the season you came out of was a real backsliding state. You get what I'm saying? I ain't saying that you was just like running wild, but you were totally against God. So now that you in this season of righteousness and etc., he wants to exercise your heart. So yeah, he letting you wait a little bit, but he coming through on time. And see, the reason why he's coming through on time is he needs you to know who's doing this thing. He don't want it to happen when you want it to happen. He got to make sure it happens in a time period where you wasn't even sure it was ever going to still happen. He got to make you have that heart and that mind of, well, is it? Because see, when you don't know, but then things come together, it's because you didn't do it. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, he's letting you wait a little bit. Yeah, he's exercising the patience. He needs you to get to the promised land and know who got you there. See, this is why he told Abraham, go to a place I'll show you. I know you don't know, so rather to go left or right, but just go ahead, get started. Because obedience, faith, is the substance of things that you have not seen. Abraham walked to the land that he had not seen. Listen, God done called you to a mighty position. He done called you to a place of power. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you've been called to a place of power. You get what I'm saying? And there's a reason for this. All that exercising you done did in this season, you've been working out. I am not trying to be funny. You've been working out. And the reason why I say that is because you've been facing things you ain't never faced before. You've been facing things you ain't never want to face. You've been facing the very things you asked God to never have to face. But God has exposed his power. But you're ready, though. You are quite ready. See, the fruit hasn't fallen. See, God is exposing me. He's exposing revelation right now to why he keeps showing me this vine of grapes that's hanging right below the ground. Do you see why God said a few minutes ago, he said, you're ready to be picked. You're ready to be picked. Because see, when the fruit hangs very low and it gets to dropping off on its own, you get what I'm saying? It's time to get the rolling downhill, because that is exposing the readiness. The readiness. God is like, I'm sorry, but he's giving me like so different. Because this word must be two-sided. Because he's giving me more than one revelation. For one person, he is saying your fruit is hanging low because the fruit hasn't fallen off yet. But you are almost ready. The other person, he said, the fruit is hanging low and you're ready to be picked because God said, I'm coming to get you early. Earlier than you are expecting. Sorry, but that's the revelation he just gave me. I ain't coming to get a feel-good word. I'm not a motivational speaker. But he kept showing me this vine of grapes. So one, he said, you are almost ready and the fruit is about to fall off the vine because it's getting very ripe. And the other person, you are ready to be picked. You are already ready and he's coming to get you sooner than you think. So listen, if you don't take nothing from this word, you better be strategic and obedient. Like I said earlier, if you do nothing in this season, be smart about it. Combine your faith with your wisdom and your obedience. Combine the three because you are ready. You are literally about to take off. So listen, he said if you be obedient to the plan he has spoken to you about, and if you haven't been obedient to this plan, he is telling you to try it now. That's what he's telling you. And I got a feeling that this word, what he's saying right now, is applying to the one who relates to the parable when he is saying that the fruit hasn't fallen off yet, but it's ripe. So it's hanging low. He is saying, try it now. Whatever plan he had spoken to you about, I don't know what he's told you to do, but he's saying to try it. Sorry, but he just brought back the word. He spoke the other day. He said, you don't know how it's going to come about. And he said, you aren't going to know how it's going to come about. He's going to tell you how it's going to come if you go about what he's told you already. He said, you ain't moved in the things I've told. I don't know who I'm talking to because I'm not coming to spank anybody, okay? I'm not coming to get nobody no chastising. But he said he's already told you what to do, but you haven't tried it. Your faith isn't being as strong as he needs it to be. He needs you to not have the finances and spend your last on it. I ain't trying to put nobody in debt, but listen, that's just the type of faith he's calling you to have. He's calling you to put the work in and you haven't even got paid for it. He's telling you to get to work right now because see, when it will birth later, it is going to overflow. See, you got to start off in a drought because the drought is the place that he prunes you. In the season of your faith, in the season of your blindness, in the season where you are not running over, that is where he's going to run you over in spirit. That is where you grounded. He got to show you what he's working with. He got to show you his power. He got to show you how he knows what he's doing. See, when he keep popping up right on time, but you had to wait for it, you didn't know if he was still going to come through. Yeah, he's trying to show what he's working with. He's trying to show you how